But I didn't understand how the hell do you get from playing in your county to being on your TV screen and playing for the club that you love.
You can tell through this whole conversation, it's about you giving back.
For me, I just think, yeah, the natural captain would be either a Declan Rice or actually a Gabriel Magalhaes.
Welcome back to the Arsenal Humans Fanzone with me, Luce. So as you can see on the screen, today's guest is Cecil, who I feel like most of you will probably know from AFTV. Like, you can already sense the infectious energy he brings, which is what I was lucky to experience when I was on there. I just remember like the first time meeting you, and I was just like, oh my god, like this is a cool vibe, cool man. So I'm very grateful you're on here. I feel like not only obviously do you present obviously on AFTV, but I feel like you've got a few different things going on. I've done a bit of my research and I was like, okay, like in the past, like a dance teacher and things like this, like you've got so many different avenues that you've covered. But obviously, most recently, the biggest thing to hype up is the red carpet you did with TikTok for the PFA Awards. Like, when I saw that, when you told me about that, I was like, this is actually insane. So I feel like, yeah, I'm very happy you're here.
It's really sweet, Luce. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm blushing.
Of course, man, of course. No, you deserve the flowers. But as I start all these fan zone episodes, basically, is the question why Arsenal? So I want you to just break down your journey because I feel like everyone obviously would see you as the presenter and a fan of it, but like, how did you become that fan of Arsenal and why?
So, so my family, majority of my family, like, they actually support Arsenal anyway. So it's family ties was the easy answer, but there's a bit more to it. I mean, I have three stepbrothers, go by the name of Kevin, Marvin, and Bobby George, and they were Bobby and Kevin were heavily involved in football. Kevin actually made it professional. He was a professional footballer at Charlton, and I kind of watched him and looked up to him and was like, I want to be a professional footballer. That was my dream. It's most young boys' dreams are to be professional footballers, and I went into that kind of route of trying to be a professional footballer without actually realising it. I was playing locally where I live now. I still live in Surrey, so I was living in Surrey and playing football, Sunday football, growing up, and then when I was, I don't know, I'd say about 6, 7, I loved Arsenal. No, sorry, I loved football. Sorry, and I had like a shaved head. Didn't have as much hair as I do now, which I'm trying to hold on to as I get older. I had like a 0.5 haircut around 7, 8 years old, and 7, 8 years old, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I was playing football as a striker, and a lot of people from my area in my team was like, "Oh, he's like a young Thierry Henry." Now, disclaimer: listen. I'm not saying I was that
You put
level,
it out there
but
now.
it's just the look. I had the long socks. I like to have long socks. I actually used to wear long johns underneath my socks. I didn't like to get my legs out. Funny enough, it actually stayed with me for a very long time. Which if people will have a smile and a chuckle if they actually, remember from when I was really young that I used to wear, long johns underneath with my shorts, long johns, and then long socks because I just like to cover my legs. So, so that was kind of a thing, long socks, and then obviously sometimes I had the gloves and whatnot. And yeah, they used to say, oh, like he's like a young Thierry Henry, being a striker and a shaved head. And the more it used to come up, like quite often, quite weekly. I used to be quite good at football, so I score goals, and I used to be like, oh, who is this Thierry Henry person that everyone's talking about? Even I kind of spoke to my family actually about it. Like my brothers know, like, oh, he plays for Arsenal, and he's like, it's the team we support. And then I remember, I have a vivid memory of being in my brother's flat when Arsenal won the Invincible season in '04, and I was very young, I was like 9 years old. But I remember them celebrating and then really kind of understanding how much Arsenal meant to my family, but also myself, because I was like, oh, and I see Thierry Henry and all that, and I used to just watch him and do the old thing that people used to do back in the day, watch YouTube videos and try and recreate things and go out and play football. And I had a park opposite where I lived at the time, so I used to just recreate the goals. And then I kind of like looked into Henry, looked into that life, and then fell in love with Arsenal, kind of probably through Thierry Henry, if I'm being honest. Obviously, I knew about Arsenal before. It only felt like that felt like the only team that was kind of in my realm as well. I think when I used to go to like football camps, which I used to do back in the day, they obviously used to let us sometimes at like lunchtime. They used to put iconic football games on and stuff. Man United was played, Arsenal was played a lot. So it was kind of, I was around Arsenal and Man United. I didn't really know too much about many other teams, if I'm honest. It was just Arsenal for me from kind of the beginning. And then instead of like being what I'm at today, like the fan that goes to pretty much every game, I was trying to chase to be a professional footballer. So a lot of the weekends I was playing football. And I mean, if we go through the story, which I'm sure we will at some point, obviously I got to achieve the dream of playing football for my career.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this is actually so interesting because obviously I knew, like, with the career playing and everything, for just when you've spoken in the past and, like, obviously just seeing on socials and stuff. But it's actually interesting that you sort of were playing before you found the team because I feel like loads of people are sort of born into it, if that makes sense. So it's actually cool that you were compared to this legend of the game. Obviously, you mentioned Thierry Henry. Is there anyone else just briefly that you sort of can remember or any players that obviously you liked resembling, but you just really loved as a kid.
Yeah, like I mean, like Arsenal wise, like David Seaman made goalkeeping cool for me. I
Hmm.
remember it vividly. Obviously, the haircuts, the ponytails, and just like, and I remember also. Luckily, I arranged the A-list show with David Seaman. And it was like quite a big moment for me. And at the time, like I don't know, I go through life as a young kid and don't really realize the impact of a lot of these players. And then when you see them, and now like I'm so grateful that I get to sometimes like cross paths with these legends that I watched growing up. That was quite a surreal thing for me. Like seeing and meeting David Seaman, speaking with him. I loved Sol Campbell. I've just literally this week from the Premier League, big up the Premier League. They sent me a signed shirt of his, and like I was just like,
No
this is
way.
mad. Like he was one of my like favorite defenders, and I don't think he got the credit for actually how good he was at Arsenal. So Arsenal wise, like very much those sort of players. Patrick Vieira's, oh my god, like I think he's one of the. I think he is the best defender. Sorry, best midfielder in the Premier
Yeah.
League. Obviously, they'll talk about Gerrards and Lampards and Scholes and all that, but I just think Vieira was just for how tall and aggressive he was. He actually had technical ability as well, and he used to just be able
Hmm.
to break up play and push the ball forward and score goals. So like Vieira was a big one for me. So I have to say that I think growing up as well, like I had obviously other idols. So I was trying to be a professional footballer, so I had a lot of people I actually aspired to either be. Like I remember coming through and looking at Ruben Loftus-Cheek at Chelsea. He was like the first ever teenage millionaire from football. And I remember being a professional footballer at the time. Well, being signed as a youth player, and being like, that would be amazing to be able to achieve. Like
Hmm.
he was a quality player as well. Again, another tall midfielder who had incredible feet and can just run through midfields and defenses. I loved Raheem Sterling at the time. Obviously, before he came to Arsenal, he actually was an amazing player coming through the Liverpool's. He was obviously QPR and Man City. I used to look at him and think, what a career. Obviously, being Jamaican as well, Jamaican heritage. Like
Hmm.
he was someone I looked to, and Wayne Rooney as well, being a striker. I think like for me, I looked at his game and thought, wow, what a complete striker. I look at Thierry Henry as my number one, but I had a lot of time and respect for Wayne Rooney. And at the event I was recently review at, I actually got to meet him, which was again another surreal moment. So yeah, it's just those are the kind of players I really looked onto. I know people might be looking at the players before that. Obviously the Tony Adams eras and all those sort of like that. That for me, yes, I watched it, but I kind of grew up through the age I am is those are the players I kind of really related to and looked at when I was trying to be a professional footballer. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think that's kind of the ones that really had an impact on me. Yeah,
Well, I
I
think
looked.
it is sort of like it's interesting because I think even from my perspective of Arsenal, growing up, you sort of just saw these players and you saw names, but then it's only now that I look at these players, I'm like, oh no, technically they're really good. And like if you asked me to speak about players from way back, I'd be like, oh yeah, like Jack Wilshere, like whatever, like from when I was growing up, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't be able to tell you too much about what he
right,
did on the ball. Whereas
right.
now I'd be able to be like, oh yeah, Declan Rice when he's in that midfield space, what he can
Yeah,
do. So I think it's just you've got that different
that's
perspective.
that's what it is. I think when you're like, yeah, because the obviously age we are, like we can talk. We've watched the clips. We've watched about we
Hmm.
understand the history of Arsenal, but like what we've grown up watching and grown through. We obviously have, like you said, you can talk about technical abilities. Like I watched Chuba Akpom like a lot. He was in obviously Arsenal Academy, and he came through, and he was supposed to be the Arsenal's next big striker star. And I was just like, I was at a football club at the time trying to replicate that. Like he was living my dream. Obviously, he didn't make he made it, if I'm honest, but not at Arsenal. So like those are players I
Hmm.
can talk about. Sterling as well. I remember he was being really young. He was supposed to be a wonder kid. He was under Arsene Wenger, and he was like he was a failed wonder kid in the end. But those are players I remember watching and being like, wow, technically like at that age, the confidence. Obviously, we had Fabregas, who he had that and was bossing the midfield at a young age. But those are the ones that didn't make it. I used to watch because I was like, oh, I'd love to be in their position at Arsenal. But yeah, but you're right. I think the older you get now, and the way football is now anyway in this space,
Hmm.
you have to kind of know everything anyway. So when it comes to like modern day football, Declan Rice and all that, you study them. You study these players. So it is interesting. Back in the day, I used to just watch in awe, and
No,
now it's back to work. So yeah,
it's so true. It's so true because I think, like you're saying, I could go on socials right now and see like the Forest game yesterday. and just go back and see all different highlights, see what players people are analysing with like arrows, and you can see all the ins and outs. But it's interesting you're saying that you sort of did that a little bit with players that maybe didn't make it to the mainstream as much as, or become household names as much as some others. And obviously, I feel like that is probably hugely down to your career yourself. Just talk me through a bit of like where your career went, because I've seen on like your CV sort of like Crawley, if I'm correct. So yeah, just talk me through like that sort of level and how you ended up becoming like a fan of football when you were young, and then you ended up making it into a bit of a career, like playing career.
So I was like I mentioned, I was like still living. I was in Surrey, just playing like Sunday football. Didn't actually know about professional football. If it's the funniest thing, obviously I knew about the people on TV and like, but there was no in the country. Shall we say? I'm not listening. I'm in the countryside, but I'm not like obviously I'm not far from London, but I'm in the countryside. So like, there's not an education of how you become a professional footballer. Especially when I was young, I was just like playing football because I loved it. But I didn't understand how the hell do you get from playing in your county to being on your TV screen and playing for the club that you love. So luckily, like I mentioned before, my stepbrothers, they were professional footballers. Well, Kevin was, and he was at Charlton Athletic, and had a professional career. I was 15, so this is considered late, especially nowadays. This is late getting into professional football, very late. And he said, I want to take you to like I'm going to take you to Crystal Palace. It's Crystal Palace National Stadium, Olympic Stadium. It's in Crystal Palace. He goes, you're going to do a football session. Yeah, it's just going to be nice and relaxed. There'll be some players there, just play how you normally play, whatever. Cool. So I went there, and then I was played really well. Training session, really good. And they're like, oh, I want you to come back next week. So I was like, cool. I thought it was a college program, by the way, at this stage. Didn't have a clue what was going on.
Okay.
Didn't have a clue. So I came back next week, and then got asked to come back again. I saw John Solaka. Is it John? My guy, Matt Solaka, anyway. But yeah, it's John Solaka. But he coached us for a little bit in the Crystal Palace under-16s. But at the time, I didn't know. Like I said, I was just going there to just play football.
So you thought it was just like just random people getting together, having a kickabout sort of.
I thought it was a no. Because there was a coach and stuff. I thought it was like a you know, like they had like Arsenal in the community. They had all these things like
Yeah.
Chelsea, Crystal Palace Foundation, like all these things. I just thought it was just one of those, like a after school kick around, but they have those people in the tracksuits because they work for the club. It's a community thing. So that's what I
Yeah,
thought it
yeah.
was. So I was turning up and they kept asking me to come back every week. And then we trained I think a Thursday, and like after school, and they was just like, oh, we want you to come to the training ground on the weekend because we're gonna go and play Leeds. And I said, what? And they're like, yeah. So
Like their youth set up, like
yeah.
a
So I was like,
community.
what? Yeah. I was like, what? And I was like, yeah. So then I went to the training ground on the weekend, and then like the training ground has the gates, and you go through the gates, and then like the whole
Gosh.
team on the training pitch, and everyone's in tracksuits, and I'm just like, I said to my brother, I said, what's this? He was like, oh yeah, this is you're at Crystal Palace, like you're on trial, and I was like, huh? I said, what? And then it was very like overwhelming because like I remember going there, I was under 16, so I was 15 at this time, I was under 16, and the youth team were there, so like there was a lot of banter, like there was like a lot of players that we couldn't talk to because they were deemed to be the next stars of Crystal Palace. There was a kid called Reece Alassani. I got on a coach with like Hiram Boateng, Sully Kaikai, like, and all the under 16s had to sit at the front, the youth team players had to sit at the back, and then you're getting bantered. They're calling the youth team, the 16s, to come back to the back, and you're getting pushed around. It was just a madness. We had the tracksuits and was like on some fancy team coach, and I was just like, wow. And it was going up to Leeds, and I was like, this is mad. Like, and I didn't realize. And then I think I played 2 games in total. I played 2 games for Crystal Palace, and then that week I got released at 15. I was in year 10, and I remember being released on the top of Crystal Palace National Park Stadium, whatever it is, on the bridge by the coach come up to me, and they told my brother, but my brother was like, you have to deal with, like, they want to talk to you, and he was like, they let me go to the coach standing, and he was like, look, thank you for your time, blah blah, we really like how you play and whatnot, but we think this is the end of the road, basically, like, don't need to come back to here, but thank you for your time. And I just remember going back in the car and just crying my absolute eyes out all the way home. I went back to my mum's because my brothers was in London. They used to take me I used to meet him in London, and he used to take me to training. Cried, went to school, cried, because I remember that after that first game, I remember telling people like, oh, I'm at Crystal Palace and I'm going to be a footballer and all this. Even though I was on trial, but at the time again, there was no education on how to be a professional footballer. So that happened. I've never spent this long talking about this part of my career, but yeah, that happened. And then in year 11, very upset that I wasn't a professional footballer, but I was just getting on with my life. And then my brother said, I'm going to take you to Crawley Town. Went there, played an under-16s game. That was my first trial in there. I knew what this was now, because I understand, like, okay, this is serious. But because I was at Crystal Palace and I was also training in London, I was a lot more physically developed than most people, especially in this area. And I just bossed that game. I was pushing people. People felt like kids to me. It was really weird. Bossed that game, got asked to come to training, went to training, and then I was in school, and then the club, Crawley Town, rang my school and asked me to come on day release. I speak about this a lot. If you don't know what day release is, it's basically when they ring the school and say, can we have a player at your school during the day? But you have to get permission from the school. Got permission from the school to go and do that. I did that for a few times, and then one training session, which is on a documentary, I left school, went to Crawley, and we played against the first team, and I was obviously 16 at this time. And I was with the youth team, training up, and then and that training session was against the first team, trained really well. I think Steve Evans was the manager, is that his name? Oh yeah, I'm sure it's his name. And just had a really good training session, ripped up Claude Davis, who was in Jamaican International, got a penalty as well from just taking him on, and then I played a few matches post that training session for the youth team, and then the first team manager came down and watched me, and he really liked me, offered me a contract. I signed a 2-year contract at the end of my school year. Actually, no, whilst doing my GCSEs, signed a 2-year contract, and then the rest was history. I had to move to Crawley, train there, even though I lived quite close there, train there every day. But what people don't know, or they do know, but like, I signed my contract, was deemed to be the next big thing at Crawley Town. Myself and a guy called Alex Lang, who got watched at Youth Cup by Man United. He was an unbelievable talent. Me and him were just on fire. Got promised the world by the club, and then things just went a bit nasty and turned. A lot of chopping and changes of first team managers and chief execs of the club, and then my youth team manager just became a bit of a bully to not just me but a lot of the players. I fell out of love with football, hated every day, hated going into work, which is blasphemy for a player to say, like, you're going to work even though you're playing football for a living. They used to frown upon that, but that's what it became. And then I got released at 18, and so did majority of the players. They shut down the youth team, they shut down the reserve team, they kept the first team, and then I got released, hated every day of football, hated watching Arsenal, hated everything to do with football. Actually, there was a bit of a prolonged time after I got released. I went on trial at many other clubs, became a journeyman, Brighton, Dagenham, Redbridge, Stevenage. I went to Nottingham Forest for a really long time, got really badly cheated, or politics got involved, and I didn't get a contract, but that was my last professional club, was Nottingham Forest. I went to Nike Academy as well, actually, that got me for Nottingham Forest. Again, not a lot of people know about all this, but after Nottingham Forest, I just said, I've had enough. I was 19, I said, this is too much, and then that's where the career changed. I hated football and then went into ballet, dance and contemporary, and that changed my life. So yeah.
This is actually crazy, because I feel like you've just told me your whole journey, and like you said, I feel like you haven't really said it to many people. Like I didn't know that just from looking at your profiles and stuff. You just see maybe like Crawley, but it's so interesting to see at such a young age you had to go through that rejection. But I feel like that's something that so many young boys especially have to. Like I'm based in Croydon, and I remember watching a documentary about like South London and like all the people basically playing cages, and then suddenly they go to the academies and like Crystal Palace, and how they release so many people. And I'm like, I just feel like I have so many questions for you, because it's just like, how do you even overcome that rejection? Because obviously you experienced it at 15 or 16, did you say 16 years
old? 15, 16, and then 18, yeah.
And then once again, did you feel like, obviously you were probably a different person, because 2 years on from when you were first rejected, you would have then obviously played in a different setup, complete different setup, as you've said. Did they differ, like how you reacted to that sort of rejection?
Yeah. Like I think so. For people that are listening and watching, like the reason why I felt like love of football is because the way my manager treated me at the time. Like, he used to throw stuff at us. He used to just verbally abuse us. He used to. I went on loan to Tottenham Mitcham first team, and was on fire. And then he used to like have a go at me for being so good there and then not training well, even though I was training fine. And he was like, you can score goals for them, but you can't score goals for me. Like, he was like a power hungry man. He actually got blacklisted from working with footballers, young footballers, because he was so badly. He used to manage people so badly and so awfully. And he killed a lot of dreams for a lot of people at the club. And he was Steve Martin, an evil man. But the question you asked was the rejection. Yeah, I think, again, That's funny. I didn't know you was in Croydon. That's obviously close to me. I was basically there a lot of time growing up, and I have a lot of friends obviously from the area. And there's a lot of amazing footballers from South London, and I also used to be in Catford Pits and train with them and whatnot. That's how I became the player I was, because I kind of left my education of Surrey countryside football and went into London and really became the player I was around that time. But rejection became that first time I got rejected at Crystal Palace at 15. I've never felt pain like that. It broke my heart. Like I don't know. But if I'm honest, it broke my heart, but then reinvigorated me to then be like, okay, cool. I know what I need to do now. And same with, like, we see a lot of rejection from a lot of players. We see Eze obviously floated around, like all those sort of players. Sometimes it can make or break you. Like, some people can't take it. And I'll be honest, mentally, I probably wasn't strong enough for football, for the elite level. The elite league, like the Premier League, I think everyone that makes the Premier League it is amazing how they've done it, because it's probably one of the most difficult things to do ever in the world. So like, I probably wasn't strong enough to make it to that level, but some people, like I said, they would get rejected and they think, can't keep doing this. Some people thrive at it, and I think the 15-year-old in me was like, okay, cool, I know what this is, let's push on. Went to Crawley, and then you get loads of rejections while you're at a football club, because you get things where you get to train with the first team, and then you're not with the first team, or trialists will come in and play a match ahead of you in your team, or like you'll see your other mates going up to travel with the first team on match days and being with them, and you're not. So you go through levels of heartbreak, rejection, and not making it, to then maybe going on loan and then being like a favourite, like I did. I went on loan and did amazing things at Tottenham Mitcham and had the best time of my life, if I'm honest, at a football club. Scored the most goals I've ever scored. And then you're playing in FA Cups and travelling and being part of big teams. You see big first teams of like League One, League Championship and Premier League clubs come and watch you because you're making so much noise on loan and stuff. So you go through so much levels of rejection, and then when you get to the stage of like, okay, you're not getting a contract, which again, I remember being released from Crawley Town like it was yesterday, because it will never leave my brain. I think most footballers that have made it and been released and rejected and had a career, that one moment that you think it's all over will never leave you. Like, I remember going to the ground, I remember picking up the envelope, I remember being told that we can't open the envelope whilst being in the boardroom because they didn't want everyone to see it when they're all together, and we had such a bad time, it probably would have been uproar. So it's like, please don't open your letters here, go in your cars or go return home and see what the letter says. And again, I had that and got thanked for my time at Crawley Town and said, you'll not be getting a contract and whatnot. Broke my heart. But then, yeah. And then after that, I went through levels of rejection where I kind of was mentally ready for it. Like, I went back to Crawley Town, traded the first team a lot, went to Nottingham Forest, like I mentioned, went to Brighton, I went to Nike Academy, I went to so many different places, played in non-league for a bit. So, yeah, you become accustomed to it. And if I'm honest, that level of rejection and hardship allowed me to basically become, I'm going to say, successful in my own right, because...
No, say it.
Yeah, no, because I went to do dance and performing, I went into presenting, and if I'm honest, it unleashed a beast in me that says, yeah, I know what it takes to be great, especially at a football club. So I always say to people, I have a company, which I'm wearing on my jumper right now, called Talent Transfer. Like, football taught me, I transferred a lot of my skills from football into the life I live now, and it taught me so much about, yeah, rejection, how to be the best, how to compete for contracts against your mates, your friends, how to be the best in the room, how to present yourself, how to be professional. So all those skills I took from football allowed me to access the life I live now. So yeah, it's come full circle. It's been a tough journey, but yeah, it's been a fruitful one, you know?
No, definitely. I mean, thank you for sharing that, because I feel like there's might be some people watching that are either going through that rejection, have been through it in the past, and then thinking, how do I still stay connected to football, which obviously we'll get onto in a bit. But I think also I don't want to fixate on the rejection, because you even going into those positions, you going into those environments of playing football at that level is so impressive. And I think we're quite good at being like, oh yeah, they didn't make it, but like as in they made it in, like, you made it in this situation, if that makes sense. Like, you made it, you were wearing that Palace shirt, it doesn't matter for how long you were wearing it. And then, like, same with Crawley, same with Forest, same with Brighton, Nike Academy, all these teams you mentioned, like, you made it in those areas. But obviously the rejection, I mean, from what, like, when I've seen you the last few years and seen you on socials or just interacted with you in person, like, I could tell you have such a positive mindset and such a, like, yeah, everything's going to work out. And I think now, after hearing this journey, obviously this is just one part of why you've got this mindset. I'm sure there's so many other reasons, but I feel like I understand why. Like, more so, like, exactly what it's saying. Like, okay, yeah, it might not it might not be your path in that moment, but you're definitely like, right, there's something else. And obviously you've mentioned, I mean, obviously ballet, you said you did
Yeah.
a few other dances as well, but also then focusing back onto like more AFTV and presenting in that way. How did you almost reconnect with football and find your love for football again to actually, instead of being like, oh, I'm going to be a player, being like, actually, I want to work in it as maybe more of a content creator, more of a presenter?
Good question. I mean, this is again, apologies for my long answers, but there's so
No,
much, like you said, there's
I'm
so much
loving
to
it.
unpack, and like people don't know. I talk, yeah, sometimes I talk about the journey in the career, but there's so much, and I think people sometimes think like, how, what? This can't be true, or they.
Mhm.
There's so much to it. So obviously, I made a conscious decision to say like, I won't do anything again. When at 19, I said I won't do anything that doesn't make me happy in life, and football didn't make me happy at the time. So I said like, this is the next thing I want to do, and I I went into a place of once you get released, which is at the time there was no education of what to do next. Back in the day, it was
Mhm.
just like get released, good luck. That
Yeah,
was it,
it's so
really. That
hard.
was it. Like your whole life could be dedicated to football, but they boot you out the door and you have to find your feet. So I
Mhm.
kind of was if I'm honest, I was just you want the truth? Like I was interested in girls at that time. Like I like girls a lot, and I did like to dance, but I wasn't really a dancer. I didn't really know like there was you could have a career in dance. I just wanted to do. I used to go clubs and do like Millie Rocks and Dougies
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
my level of dance. I used to be like that's all I could really do and like hit the wall and all those sort of things. Like those were my sort of levels of dance. But there was a woman who ran a weekend school called Janine, and she was just like, come to our weekend school at my old school that I went to. Um, and I was like, oh, that's where I found out where all the girls went, all the popular girls in my area. So I was like, yeah, I'll go there. And I was kind of just like there, just really doing it as like a leisure, like just a leisure time, just like chatting and whatnot, and enjoying it. But she said to me after I left football, was like, oh, what are you doing? Like, because of what you doing in your life. I was like, oh, I'm going on
Mhm.
trial, like Academy, Nottingham Forest, all these places. And then after a while, it kind of just started to like slowly die. And I was just like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing. And she was like, we'll go to this dance convention called Move It, which is like a thing that happens in London every year. There'll be a load of people there, 44,000 people attend over 3 years.
Wow.
And there'll be the main brand of Italia Conti, which is like a dance school. They'll be promoting their school there. Go and speak to them. Like, I've told them about you. Just go and speak to them. And I went and spoke to them. And yeah, they said come to a boys' open day. I went to a boys' open day after a bit of reluctancy. I'm gonna kind of skim past this bit, but I went to the open day. They offered me a full scholarship. I tried to negotiate with it because I didn't want to. I was too scared to become a dancer because it wasn't cool and all that, blah blah. So I had to
Mhm.
negotiate. What happened? Said I wasn't gonna go. 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 And then on the first day the college started, without signing any papers, I just turned up just to see what it was like. And then I went there for 3 years and trained in ballet contemporary, jazz, street, hip hop, commercial. I
Oh
did
my God.
aerial, I did acting, I did singing, musical theatre. I did a 3 year musical theatre course. But during that time, the transition was I hate football, hate football, hate football, don't want anything to do with it, stop watching it, whatever, whatever. And then in my
Mhm.
first year, I was kind of like, I miss football. So I was dancing, but there was some itch in me. So I went to like a local, like in the area where I was doing the study, and I went to a local football team and I was just playing there, and they just realised I was really good, and I was just like, yeah, I didn't really tell them why I was really good. I just went there and just started playing for a bit, and then the YouTube football scene started opening up. Cheeky Sport FC, Joel Bayer, and then that was in my second year, and in my second year, I think everything kind of changed for me. I just became like a monster. I went to Cheeky Sport, then Cheeky Sport folded. I played against AFTV FC. AFTV FC realised how good I was as well, and they were like, "Why don't you come play for us?" Played for them. Whilst I was playing for them, they were like, "You're really good. Why are you so good?" I told them my story. Then they filmed a documentary about me, which is on AFTV and on my own channel, Chasing the Dream. And then we did a whole going back to Crawley and whatnot. And then during that time, I also set up my company, Talent Transfer, whilst in my second year at college to mentor footballers. But it was just I really wanted to help players not go through what I went through because I
Mhm.
hate it and I really was passionate about trying to talk to them. Got the door slammed in my face by everyone. I emailed every Premier League club, no from everyone. I emailed PFA, slammed in my face. Osher Williams at the time said, "What makes your story so unique and so different to all the other players that get released?" Slammed the door in my face after trying to get into the PFA awards as well, many years. Wouldn't even have a meet with me. Wouldn't do anything. And then one guy called Gavin Willisey, who he's basically when you sign a professional contract and you're at a club and you're a youth player, you have to do an educational program. You have to do a BTEC in sport, a coaching
Mhm.
degree, level 2 coaching badge, sorry. Then you do a referee course. The people that run that, there was a guy called Gavin. He's a legend. He's still here today. I love him. What a man. He gave me the chance. He was like, I'll let you do 3 clubs, do your workshop, whatever you want to do, just talk to them, whatever. I will see if it's useful. And he goes, I can't promise you anything, but we'll give it a go. And then, yeah, I did the 3 clubs, Dagenham, Redbridge, Stevenage, funny enough. No, Millwall, Dagenham, Redbridge, yeah, and Stevenage. After my workshops, the players, the way they reacted, like they were saying things I couldn't believe. Like, I don't want to be a professional footballer now. How serious it gets when you sign a contract. I'd rather be playing with my friends. One player said that. Another player said, I'm suffering mentally with this, blah, blah. And obviously I didn't know what to do because I was like, okay, this is my first thing. This is a trial. I don't know what to say.
I was like,
And then
how old were you at this point?
19.
Oh,
No,
wow.
yeah, 19, 19. I was in my
So
second
you're
year. I was in
still
my
so young yourself.
Yeah. That's why, but
Crazy.
that's why I could relate to a lot of them, and I
Yeah.
just kind of left football, and and those older heads didn't realize how powerful it was going to be, and then they realized, oh my God, we need this. One player actually came out to their physio a month later and said, Cecil's workshop still stuck with me, blah blah, and then they reported that back to the LFE. Sorry, let me delete this. They reported that back to the LFE, and then which is the League of Football Education, and that's when they
Hmm.
realized okay, they need this. And at the time, if I'm honest, my workshop was very rough and raw. But now we're 9 years consecutive, recommissioned, bang bang, and
Crazy.
I've been doing this for a long time. And my workshop is probably one of the, I'll say it's been going for so long, one of the best in the setup. Obviously, they have like banking, they have financial advice, they have sexual health, they have social media advice, they have mental health. Troy Townsend kick it out, also do it. So I'm part of a board that does workshops every week. That's why I go to a football club every week and mentor them. So that was in my second year, and in my second year at 19. What got me back into football was one thing, which I actually got ridiculed and almost I got a lot of hate for because there's a famous photo, but there's a photo of me in a Man United top, and I got dragged by a few people because they thought I was a Man United supporter because it's on my Instagram. But the reason why I got back into football is because of this one thing was I body double, which many people may not know, or if they
That's so
know,
cool.
they may not know what it is. So yeah, so I go and do. So basically, Marcus Rashford, every advert that you see on his Instagram, on TV, even though he doesn't do hardly any TV adverts anymore, but he used to do loads of adverts across like social media and whatnot. 80% of the time, it was me playing Marcus Rashford, and 20% is him. In fact, actually, matter of fact, that's the fact. So I do 6 hours on
That's
set. He
actually
does about an
mental.
hour. Yeah. So I do all his adverts. So that is why I got back into football. I remember going all over the country doing like the Burberry adverts, the Hope United adverts, the Nike adverts, the Levi adverts, the Nat West adverts for Marcus Rashford, and
Oh
became
my
very close
God.
to him, close to his family. Chavita was the first ever one I did when he first signed his big contract. I remember the week he signed his big contract. I think he went from like 20,000 a week to like 80 grand or 100 over 100 grand. He bought his mum a house, and he was in the press for being a showboating footballer, even though he was a very timid, shy young boy. I remember doing the first shoot, and yeah, we connected then, and then from there, that's been about how what is he? I was 18, 19. He's now I'm 29. Yeah, 10 years. So and he's 27. So I was 10 years deep. I've been doing his adverts, and that world was like, oh my God, I'm around footballers, I'm with footballers, and I'm on
Hmm.
camera. Like, I was like, I love this. Like, how can I do this regularly? I try to apply to work for Andy Answer, who's the one that booked me for those jobs. He's chairman of SC Dons. He's a very successful man. He does all the Nike adverts, all the World Cup adverts. I tried to pitch to him. He said, "Don't really need you right now, but thank you. Like I can see you're ambitious and whatnot, but didn't need you. Don't need you right now." And then that spurred me on to be like, okay, I'll do it myself. I'll do it myself. And then I, had my company Talent Transfer Mentor and Footballers. I went back into football by doing like adverts and then doing sports doubling, doing photo shoots, modeling and whatnot. And then as I graduated from Italia Conti, I'd done everything in dance. Was in a film, The Little Mermaid. I was in doing
Yes,
campaigns, adverts. I
that
was
was cool.
doing tours, shows, and then COVID hit, and then my industry shut down. But one industry that was still going was football. They were letting fans, only a small amount of fans in the stadiums, or they're playing football with no fans. And I was like, okay, that's still happening. The passion, that thing I loved and still have a little burning desire for, is still happening. My industry shut down in performing. They shut down theatres and whatnot. So then I applied for AFTV on LinkedIn. Robbie put a post out on
Nice.
LinkedIn saying I'm looking for 2 presenters. 946 people commented. I've still got the screenshot, and I applied. I had a few interviews with him, and the rest is history. After that, I joined AFTV. I was very bad at the beginning, and now I'm okay, I guess. So
No,
yeah,
you're
that's how
a
I
bit
got
more
back
than
into football.
okay.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
bit, just
Obviously,
a bit.
there's a little. I mean, it's an opinion thing. There's still people that hate and don't like the way I present, but that's life. But yeah, I joined AFTV in 2020 amongst COVID. Oh no, so in the midst of COVID, and then yeah, and that's how I kind of fell back in love with football from the fan
Mhm.
side. So that side died in me. The player wanted to be a player side completely died, but the fan love grew back very strong. And yeah, I joined AFTV, and then I now work for AFTV, but many other big establishments when it comes to football. And now my life, even though at one stage I tried to run away from it, football has become my life. I can't leave my house without talking about football. I can actually be in my house and still be talking
I
about
was gonna
football.
say
So
you're doing it right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. But it's a blessing. It's given me football. I
Mm.
think footballers say this. I think Rio said it. He said like, the game has given me so much, and that is the facts for me. Like it's given me so much. It's given me yeah, it's given me my career. It's given me everything. It gave me a career when I was young, playing football for a living, getting paid to play football with a
Mhm.
dream of being a professional footballer. To then leaving it, and then now, and then working in sports media, and now like literally, yeah, my life revolves around football. So yeah,
I mean,
that's
just
it.
I was gonna say, just like hearing your story because you're saying, oh yeah, like you played it, you were then body double, like you've had so many different careers within just football. Like it definitely, like I echo what you're saying about what Ria said, it definitely does give you so much and like mean
Yeah,
so much as well. I mean, like even just me doing this pod, I feel like I'm connected with so many people and it's all because of football, it's all because of Arsenal at the end of the day, and it's so nice and like how I don't think many other sports or many other industries could do what I feel like
no,
football has done.
definitely.
So honestly, just hearing the different roles you've played, it is actually so cool to see where you are now, if that makes sense, like what you're doing and maybe certain things that you had little setbacks. Now you're representing them, like the PFA awards and stuff. It's obviously like there's a lot of full circle moments I can tell for you, and even meeting players that we mentioned at the beginning, you were listing off a few players. You're now meeting them because of AFTV, and it's really interesting. I feel like I've got so much to break down from what you just said, but it's really interesting because what you're saying, obviously about the dance and stuff, I've always associated you with dance, but in just I thought you just enjoyed it. You had that passion for it because you've got that energy that you're just always like sort of bopping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and then suddenly now I'm like, oh wait, you have that
Right.
background, like, you
Yeah,
studied it, you're trained in it, so it's not just the love for it. It's obviously you've got that qualification behind you. And when I see content like this, literally, I wrote in my notes, I was like, oh, I want to know your favorite signing on video that you did because the one that sticks into my head is like the Declan Rice one, and I just remember seeing it, and I was like, no, but you actually can dance. Like this
yeah,
is, I feel like people would, I don't know, see you as more just like a fun dancer, but I'm like, no, you actually, you know. So like
yeah.
going to TV,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a good question. Like, yeah, because I love. It's so funny. Like, I love the welcome videos, and like, I know they go viral and people clown them and whatnot, and people think like it's embarrassing. I'm like, I do it for every player, and it's just like,
Hmm.
and all the production. We all look forward to the transfer window opening because we like to just like find creative ways to
Hmm.
welcome players, and I know the players watch them. I know they appreciate them as well. So it's become something that's like quite significant to me, and like people say, yeah, what like you've asked me what's my favorite. No one's really asked me that. I think there's a story behind a lot of them. Like when Robbie's renowned for doing welcome videos. That's my thing. I came to AFTV and was like, I want to bring the fans close to the players and bring the fans close to the club and whatnot. And also like Robbie was like, I want you to kind of just like slowly replace me. But this was in the end that he actually ended up doing more work and that never happened. But like he did welcome videos where he just go to the ground and just talk about the player. That's mundane, it's boring. Yes, they got crazy views because people want to know about the player, but like we
Hmm.
wanted to find a unique way. And the one that kind of obviously Declan Rice, the ones that went super viral. I'm really proud of. Like the Declan Rice one, I didn't like that I got stitched up by the production because they put the rap out, which wasn't never supposed to go out. That is
Oh
what I don't
really?
yeah, I don't sing or rap. So that was one thing that killed me. That one, that's what sent me or got me so angry. I was actually I was so upset at the time, and social media, the whole team apologized for it. It was really
Oh, mad.
that was really annoying. But the actual video itself, I loved because I put a lot of time into it. I actually got a dance group to be in it. There was dancers in it. I obviously
Hmm.
there dancing as well, and I
Did
enjoyed it.
you choreograph it or did you like how did
They
that sort of work?
So I do the ideas. The choreography actually came from the dance group that I brought in, and
Cool.
I just jumped in it. And obviously, like, there was a few things I did. I did like a front flip to the when I'm sitting down doing the signature.
Mm.
That's my trademark. Was one of my trademark moves. The Yokerez one again was again we came together as production. We want to do something like that. People were clowning us running doing the celebration, but like there was a whole theme behind that of like Batman and course and whatnot. But I'm also still proud of that. Like as much as it,
Mm.
I watch that and think this is like a movie to me. And then but the one that you think that kind of doesn't even go unnoticed, but the one that you said was my favorite, it has to be the Jesus one because that was my first ever welcome video in that style, and that led to Edu commenting on Instagram about the video, commenting again on the video later on, or the other clip of it down the line. Him then obviously following AFTV, messaging AFTV, and then
Mm.
obviously me meeting him in Nuremberg with the lead judges, which was probably one of my favorite trips because that was where I kind of became announced at AFTV. Was that trip? It was my first time. Well, it was Robbie's first time not going on a trip, and me leading it. And yeah, we went to the Adidas training
Crazy.
facility. Yeah, and Edu came out and he said, "I loved that video." And Lee was there, and it was just a mad moment. Like he really just took us in, and from there he became like a fan of just us. And he used to message. Like, I used to speak to him behind the scenes quite regularly. So like, yeah, I just that one's probably my favorite because it meant so much. Declan Rice one was
Mm.
again massive, but like that went that transcended across over to me in America, and like people were like, yeah, it's massive, got over 200,000 views and stuff. Like, but the Jesus one to me was probably my favorite because it just meant so much. It meant so much. But flicking through all of them, the Jakob Kivior one, all those like there's some unique ones in there. The Havertz one, which I didn't love, but people seem to like it. But I'm dancing a lederhosen outside Chelsea. Like, there's some ridiculous ones in there. And do you know what? Sorry, I'm going on a tangent now, but like the Eze one was really that one's up there for me because like we did it was sentimental and I went through the
Mm.
journey not to his level but I've been the storyline behind it is obviously like you've been released and now you've reached your dream like the welcome video Arsenal did was unbelievable as well like but that one touched me a little bit more because I actually I get it I understand the journey I understand the hardship of being released and I never got the final outcome of playing for Arsenal, which was my dream. But like he's got that sort. But I understand that must be like that's mental. That must be so unbelievable that you've
Mhm.
actually made it to the club that you know you're once released from. So yeah, yeah, that one's up there. But Jesus is probably the number one. I just think there's so many in there that are just amazing. David Raya one. I had Chip the rapper do an actual song. I went to a studio like go back and watch that. Like that got didn't get the love it deserved. That one was in an actual music studio. Like anyway, but yeah. So
No,
yeah,
it's cool, man.
that's the
It is
creative
so.
side. That's the musical theatre side of me. That's me. Like I yeah, I can talk about Arsenal all day, but like I get an itch of like we're doing the same stuff. We turn on the camera, we film, we talk
Mhm.
about Arsenal, we talk about what's happening in the week. I want to go out and do. I want to create. I'm a creative. Like that's where my love is. Like that's my heart. That's my passion. That's why when you see at the PFA Awards, I'm dancing on the red carpet. I'm being silly, but like that's who I am. Like yes, there's
No, but it's so
things
good
that-
because it draws
yeah,
people in because yes, you can like any I feel like if anyone studies Arsenal, anyone's grown up watching Arsenal, you can get away with a conversation, you can chat about it, but you need to bring that personality and like why are people going to listen to you? And I feel like
agree.
it's so cool. Like I'm so happy I brought up about all those signing on videos because they're so unique, like you were saying, and it kind of combines your whole journey into one. And
Yeah,
especially with the Eze, like as you were saying it, I was getting goosebumps because it's sort of that song that I feel like Arsenal are rinsing right now, rightfully. So the Let It All Work Out, it's
mm,
so true because some like people can identify with that song whether they've actually gone through like the academies and then made it into a career like he obviously has, or if they've gone through the academies and then like with what you're doing, people would see your role as their dream of I want to be presenting, I want to be doing all these things. So I think it is just so good that you can relate to these things and then
I
obviously
agree.
your own creative spin on it. Just sort of going back to like Arsenal as a whole, and like obviously after hearing your journey and everything, I just want to know like, is there a favourite moment you've had, whether it's been presenting or just being a fan in general, that's really stood out for you, like a favourite game or I don't know, just an iconic moment that when you think like something that's just popped into your head that like you're like, yeah, this is something I'm proud of. I'd go back, I'd relive that day.
Yeah, I've run a few things pop in. Like again, seeing my family celebrate the Invincible season one, that was mad. Um,
Hmm.
being present enough to remember that. Number two, one of my favorite Arsenal memories ever, which is again, people will be like, "Oh, you're so young" or whatever, but like when Thierry came back to Arsenal against Leeds and scored that goal, and he ran to Arsene Wenger and hugged him. Ah, boy, that I don't know. That one sits in my heart. I've got the
Hmm.
shirt that day, like as in not obviously from him playing match one, but I wanted to have that exact same shirt, which I wear every time I play Leeds. Um, and Thierry being my idol, it's just that was massive. That's popped into my mind. When Turkish said to me after the Community Shield win against Man City, like since you come on this channel, mad, like David Dean, mad, Arsene Wenger, mad, Edu, mad, like that recognition. I don't know. I don't know why it always sticks with me. I think because like yeah, he's right. And at that time, I was going through not going through a lot, but like I was trying to find my feet at AFTV or find out like I had a bit of imposter
Hmm.
syndrome. I had a lot of anxiety and stuff on certain things because I didn't really like. Again, I'm a positive person. I'm a people pleaser, so I didn't understand. Sometimes we get a lot of hate at times. I just didn't understand it because it's not the way I live. But sometimes it gave me a reality check of what I've been doing at the channel, like getting Arsene Wenger, living that day, getting him on the channel, doing that interview. I didn't realize how big it was at the time, but like for me, that's mad. Like, yeah, of course. Like, there was Wenger out days, and people attributed AFTV to being like the forefront of that. But like, I interviewed him, and he was so respectful, and it was like meeting my like a legend. And I grew up watching. I saw him as a father, like growing up for following Arsenal. So like that one stood out to me a lot. And again, like there's no training for AFTV. There's no training for what we're doing. Well, there is,
Just
but
get thrown
we
straight
don't.
in.
Yeah, we don't get training. We just got to, yeah, you just got to pick up a mic and be ready. So like
Hmm.
that was a big one for me. That was a big one for me. Yeah, there's a lot of moments. Maybe not like success wise. Like I say to people, like I shouldn't say this, but I say like I want to complete my AFTV journey. I need to bring Thierry onto the channel, and I need to see Arsenal win a major trophy at AFTV. And then I've done
Hmm.
everything I want to do. I brought the club closer to AFTV, to the fans. In my opinion, I brought yeah, the players closer because I always said that my dream was to like when I was a footballer, the relationship between fans and player was never great when I was playing at my club and various other players I speak to in their clubs. So I feel like nowadays it's not just me that's helped that, but nowadays fans have a different level of respect to players. Like there's so much interaction between fan and player now. I see Declan Rice doing a lot with like Matt Papapincus or like there's loads of other fan chats. Babs, I remember Babs being on tour with us and then being like five things I learned from this game. Like one of the players said that as he's walking past. I remember on doing the body doubling shoot with Nathan Ake, and he was like, "Hi, welcome to AFTV. We've just lost to Man City," and I went, "What?" And he was like, "Nah."
Crazy.
He goes, "I watched you, my friend." I said, "Fuck, this is mad." So like all those things I've kind of achieved. So and I'm happy for it, and I feel like especially Arsenal winning, it's in a really good place when it comes to fan relationship with just everything.
Hmm.
So even with the channel, so yeah, I think those are kind of moments where stand out though. Like the game, me as an Arsenal fan, being a fan, and then also like at AFTV, I think I've had mad moments. I mean, that's about even listening, going abroad, and some of the things
I
that I
feel
did.
like there's so,
There's
so much you can
so
talk
much.
about.
Again, I don't want to take up too much of people's time, but there's loads. It's hard to pick one. And Robbie gets asked this a lot. What's your favourite moment at AFTV or you've been following Arsenal? He can't. It's
Hmm.
hard to pick one. I've been lucky enough to live some mad experiences thanks to football and the club. Yeah, man.
And I feel like also like picking out just one, like it is kind of a crazy question because
Yeah,
just trying to pick out one thing, you could probably find one thing from every single game you've worked on or every single event
fact,
you've done. Like it's
fact.
not even just like it could just be that feeling of being sat there. Like I remember when a couple of times where I'd be sat on the sofa and I just look around and I just see the lights and then suddenly like James would start talking. I was like, oh my God, like even that, just being in that moment of
Yeah,
being sat there, I was like, oh, is this real? Like it doesn't feel it feels crazy and you get an imposter syndrome I think is so relatable and so common for so many people that work in this space because it is just like oh okay cool you're chatting to these people or you're doing this sort of presenting and it is just crazy that you're there but then also it's like you deserve to be there. I think just
yeah,
listening to your journey, listening to the legacy that you're creating with all of this and that you've already created of like okay maybe this part didn't work out for me but let me see if I can help someone else work it out for them whilst I go figure out something else. Like I think it's just so good, and obviously you mentioned there about trophies, and I feel like that's something that literally Arsenal fan. I think it's just getting boring now. Like we're all like, oh, Arteta in, Arteta out. Like it's the common debate that we're all having. Do you like what do you think are the hopes for Arsenal men this season? Like what do you think silverware's a
Yeah,
possibility?
yeah, it's silverware. It's silverware. I'm different to I think a majority of fans. I get a bit of stick from it. Like I'm happy with just silverware this season.
Hmm.
There's that could be that's any silverware, by the way. Obviously not, don't be silly like pre-season and all that. But I'm talking about like obviously out of the four trophies, you need to win one of those, or if not two.
Yeah.
I'll be happy with that. I think there's no excuses this season. Last season you could say injuries, but I actually said last season that he has to win silverware, otherwise we have to have a conversation about him going. But I understand there's context in the season. I understand that there's injuries. We have the most injuries out of every club. I understand that. But now you've been given a new sporting director and you've been given a
Hmm.
load of signings, and there's that you whatever happens, unless something I don't know what now is the next excuse, because there can't really be one. Really, you've got a world class team, you've got a world class squad. I look at your squad. I actually think you have the best squad in the Premier League. I think Liverpool have the best 11, but I think when it comes to squad depth and whatnot, you have the best squad. And it's shown. Mascara playing recently, we saw Noni
Hmm.
and Eze are two second choice. That sounds hard, mad to say second choice wingers, but really, and traditionally you'd see Martinelli and Saka. So they are cooking. Like they are levels above. So like I just think, yeah, there's not really an excuse this season. You have to win silverware. I actually think even if there was something drastic, there's not really much context that can make me sway from that decision. I've always backed Mikel Arteta. I'm a fan of him. I actually like seeing him. I
Hmm.
like speaking to him. I think he can be a genius at times when it comes to how he's been so good at being able to just break teams down and be consistent in becoming. I know this sounds mad, but being second twice or three times, sorry, you have to be in the hardest Premier League, sorry, in the hardest division that there is in the world. I think, or the most competitive. I think that's something to look at and say, okay, you're definitely a good coach. Like you can sustain a level of consistency. But now it's time where that can't be second. It has to be first, or it has to be silver. It has to be a Champions League. It has to be something like that. Because in my opinion, the way he falters and the reason why there's so much pressure on him is because you're second three times in a row in the best or the most difficult, most competitive league in the world.
Hmm.
You have to then pick up silverware elsewhere because you can't be second that often and not pick up trophies somewhere else. When you've seen Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Tottenham pick up silverware, it doesn't make sense. Like you should be able to pick up trophies on the way because again, the team that win the Premier League aren't also winning those other trophies as well. So they've won the Premier League. So if you're the next best, you should be picking up silverware somewhere else. So for me, no excuse this season. I'm not going to be I'll never be the front of the Arteta out rally or brigade because that's not
Yeah.
in my character. But I will definitely be having that conversation. So yeah, he's under a lot of pressure, but I'm happy so far with how things are going. And yeah, and just quickly, sorry, I'm jumping because why not? The imposter syndrome thing. I always believed I would be something. I was confident in that. Like, it's kind of my character, and I work bloody hard. But like those things, like you said there, like there's moments when you're sat in the studio and like the camera's about to go on or James about to start. I had a friend sit in the studio yesterday at the game when we watched on. He's like, "Oh my god!" When he finished, he's like, "Bro, you're so professional. Like you just switch on." I was like, "I forget that. Yeah, you forget like you're so
Hmm.
ingrained in it now that it becomes natural." But I've had moments like you just had what you had before, Lucy, of being like, "Oh my god!" Like there was a Twitter reel going round of the woman on TNT Sports, and there's loads of people in her ear, but she's also presenting,
Yes.
and like there's so much going on, and she's just staying true to her, interviewing the
So hard.
person. They're saying Peter Crouch is coming, he's coming in 3-2. I had that experience, and it's mental. So the first charity match I did was West Ham, London Stadium, and I had in-ears, and I had to obviously interview and present, and also do a YouTube stream, and also make sure everything's. And I had a ground producer. I had to
Crazy.
switch off. I had to switch off the in-ears. So I was like, "This is too much. This is too much. Like, how the hell do people do this?" And then I, the next year, or this 2 years later, and I was a bit more experienced because 2 years they didn't do the charity match. The year after they did the big one at Wembley, which was this year,
Hmm.
and I did that, and I had in-ears again, and I said, you know what, I want to do it, and I had in-ears, I had them up loud, I had a ground producer in front of me telling me wrap up or someone's coming over, and then I had to obviously interview Speed or Chunks and all that, and I did it all at once, and I was like, I wanted to throw myself in that deep end, and I did it, and I believe I did it pretty well, and that was
Hmm.
something that I yeah, you learn I had to learn on the job, but that I get it when people say like that rule that went round, like they had so much respect for it. I was like, yeah, I understand. It's actually mental. People think sometimes our job is just turn up, speak, and you have an easy job. It's chill, like, talk about Arsenal, but yes, sometimes at AFTV, I'm used to it now, but I had to work and learn and grow. And then when you go to things like that, TV or mainstream or YouTube, like those events, mental, because that is a mad skill. That is an art form to be able to have all that going on in your ear and listen to what the person's saying, then think of the next question, then also engage with, the stream. Plus you have a ground producer telling you, okay, we've got now someone else coming in, it's mental. So yeah, I hear it. I just wanted to just get that, make all those points
No,
clear. I think it's
100%. I
important.
feel like there's a lot going on because even when you're just sat on that sofa, like as the main anchor, you're gonna have people talking to you in your ears and things like that, and then you're having to look at the stream, like obviously when you're doing watch-alongs. Whereas even just for me, when I was like the guest and I was just sat there, I was like, oh, 3, 2, 1, okay, cool, camera's on. Like suddenly you see the lights go on, and then you can see in the corner of your eye, right, they're switching cameras, you know what's happening. So you're constantly thinking, whereas I can't imagine when you're actually like the main one and like you're saying at those events, there's so much to think about. But I think it's like the key takeaway for me from what you've just said is everyone's always learning. Like as in you're never gonna just sit in that seat and be like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Like you're gonna have to figure it out as you go along, and it's so important. So yeah, I feel like that, yeah, definitely important just to add on to. But going back to Arteta and obviously the season and everything, I completely echo again what you were saying with I think we just need some sort of silverware. Like it's actually such a good achievement to be in the top like three for a few seasons consistently, but now you need something to show for it. But for you, does it have to be that Premier League title, or can it be like an FA Cup, like get our history back, or can it be I don't know
Yeah.
Carabao Cup?
No, yeah, it can. For me, I know people are gonna go
Hmm.
mad and say standards and all this, and I hear it, but like, I need silverware. I'm tired
Yeah.
I want the day out, I want the parade, I want all that stuff. I know Carabao Cup, we probably wouldn't do that for the League Cup or whatever, but like, can you get the double? Can you do the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup? Can you? I want silverware. Regardless, I think if you get silverware anyway, we saw it. He won the FA Cup in his first season. That prolonged his stay. I'll be honest, because I think at the
Hmm.
time where we started that season, well, we were eighth, and then fifth. But when we started that season against Brentford, and we lost the first three games, and we lost to Brentford, and like, if he didn't have the FA Cup, he probably would have been gone. I think if he wins silverware, as much as there'll be fans saying, "I still want him gone." If he wins the Carabao Cup, the board will hold on to him because he's won silverware, and there's a team there that you can probably build around, depending on obviously context. If we fall off completely, drop out the top Champions League position, we lose,
Hmm.
come out of the cups early, and we
Yeah.
win a Carabao Cup, they're going to hound him out. There's no doubt about it. But if we're up there, context competing, we lose by like a one match loss or whatever on the final day of the season, and we get to the final of the Champions League and we drop off and then we win a Carabao Cup, he's likely going to stay. And that I understand because we won a trophy. And yeah, it's annoying. People don't want to hear me say that, but it's silverware. But listen, I want more than that. I expect more than that. I'm just saying. I just think silverware is for me is what I want to see this season. And there's not an excuse for it. There's not an excuse not to win it. There really isn't. Like I said, I'm giving some sort of silverware. It's not like I'm saying the Premier League because
Yeah.
people keep saying to me, "Why are you not saying the Premier League? You have to have higher standards." But I'm like, "But who's favourites to win the Premier League this season?" They go Liverpool. So I'm like, "So how can I say he has to win the Premier League if we're not even favourites?" And they're like, "No, but we should win it because we." I was like, "You're not making sense." And then when they say Champions League, I say, "Okay, Champions League." I say, I hear it. You can go far in it. But I said, how long were we out the Champions League? Arteta brought us back to the Champions League. Let's not forget that after so many years, and it's our third season back in it, um, and we went from quarters to semis. And what you expect him just to win it? Like that's the natural progression. You go from semis to win it. That doesn't really happen. If he goes logically thinking quarters, semis, and finals, cool. Listen, I want him to win it, but like I'm gonna be fair in my assessment of certain things. Like I think some things are just they're too our hunger for a trophy and silverware sometimes it blurs our vision of what's actually logical. So yes, I want him to win the Champions League. It can be done. Listen, it shouldn't go in chronicle order
Oh
or
yeah.
chronological order of quarters, semis, and then finals, and you may not win, but it's still progression. But like you can still win it. So if he gets that far, I expect him to win. If he gets to a final, I expect him to win the Champions League. But come on, people, like context on certain things. So yeah, it's hard to say right
I
now, but
think
he's under a lot of pressure to win a trophy.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think fans can be obviously we know fans can be quite fickle. Like one game you're winning and everyone's like, "Oh my God, we're gonna win everything," and the next game it's like, "Right, get him out." Even like yesterday before the game, before the Forest game, I feel like a lot of people were like, "What is this starting 11?" Because it was so different. Like we didn't have Rice in it, and even I panicked. I was like, "Why is Rice not there? That's really weird." Like I mean, Erdegaard's back, but then we had Saliba out, then Eze was starting Mosquera, and I was like, "Okay, this is just crazy." but it works out. And I think it's kind of interesting because now we've got obviously so many different like options for starting 11 positions because of that squad depth that you mentioned earlier. So it sort
Yeah.
of puts us in like a easier position, if that makes sense, compared to the last few seasons where we'd get one injury and suddenly our whole season we'd be like, that's it, done. Like Saka's injured, we're out. Whereas now it's like Saka's injured, but we've actually got like Ethan Waneri, we've even got Noni Madueke, we've got these backup options for them. So I feel like we're in a decent
Very,
position.
very good place. Very good place. Very
No,
good.
literally, like
Sorry to jump in, but yeah, I smiled when you said about that Declan Rice thing, and people. Again, I'm gonna keep going on about it because I just feel like I have to mention it. But if people that follow AFC follow obviously the channel, we did a Predict 11 video, so we do it two
yeah,
days before obviously the game, and I said I don't think we should start Rice in this game, and I got loose. I got absolute
I
pelted
can
in the comments.
imagine.
How has Cecil got this job for so long? He just waffles. He doesn't have a clue. It's about no ball knowledge. I got murdered in the comments, literally. Like even on screen, Laurie and Marty were like, "What are you saying? Declan Rice, like the corners, what he does gives to the team. He works, he covers every blade of grass. Like you need him." And I said, "I just don't feel like this is the game for me." I said, "I want to see a different style of football. I want to see attacking football. I want to see us." Mika Mourinho's just come off the back of scoring a hat trick for his nation, plus scoring 4 goals in 2 games. I said Zubimendi's obviously they got the partnership there from playing with Spain and whatnot. I said I wanted Eze in instead of Odegaard because I want more attacking flair. I want more creativity. He's not playing well at the moment. Got absolutely slaughtered. I said on the left I want. What did I say? I said I want Noni on the left. I want Ethan on the right. People were just honestly loose. I got pelted, and then the 11 came out, and everyone was just like, Cecil, oh my god. I said, hey, sometimes you just gotta,
You
that's
got
what he
that
said. He said,
connection with them.
You just gotta, yeah, sometimes you just gotta just like relax. Like it's an opinion. Sometimes I feel like it seems like logical, but it's not always logical. That's what's so beautiful about fans and fan channels and fans because they have different opinions. But yeah, I just sorry I
Mhm.
had to jump in because I just wanted to every platform I go on, I want to make it clear that sometimes just hear us out, hear us out, hear us
Well,
out. But yeah.
that's the other thing with football. It's so subjective. Like you could think, oh, these three players are better in the midfield, and then I could be like, no, I'd have these three. Like it's actually just so it's so opinion based, but it's also this like player might be better technically, but do they actually work better with the two players sat in front of them? Like you need to acknowledge so many different things when you're
Yeah.
thinking of that start 11. I didn't even realise that you obviously didn't include him in your starting 11, but that's so I don't know, it's such a like I told you so moment, like as in
Right.
it's good to see. And you've obviously got some sort of like I don't know, you're obviously thinking like Arteta, which actually is really weird because I wanted to end this episode with like a little sort of game of basic you're gonna become Arteta for a bit, but I feel like you actually have already become Arteta in the last
I'll take
couple moments. But
I'll
I just want
take
you
it.
to like put on your Arteta hat, like put on that Lego hair and just become him for a bit. And basically I'm just gonna like ask you a few questions, like quick fire questions, and you've got to think like you're the manager, you're going into this City game next weekend, which obviously we know is quite a big game. Obviously, we don't know how
Yeah.
the Manchester derby is going tomorrow. When this is out, we will. But it is kind of a big game. So I kind of, hypothetically, you're Arteta. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. Okay, so the first
Nice.
one
Let's do this.
is, yeah, I just thought, just off the spot. The first one is who are you giving the captain's armband to? Like, it could be anyone in that squad.
If I'm Arteta, I'm saying Martin Odegaard because he that's how he says. If I'm Arteta, he will say, well, away from the match, what he does with the team, um, what he does for the team. I actually know actually how close he is with Arteta as well. Um, and he seems like they call him the teacher's pet, but that's because yeah, captain that is what it is. They're not always the best player. Um, they are the player that gets the communication over from the manager and the instructions properly, and he is that. And also when as Arteta would say, we did a vote with the team, and
Yeah.
he was the one that was voted. Even recently, he was the one that was voted to be the captain. But if we're going to, I know playing being Arteta, he would say Odegaard, and if I was playing him, I'd say Odegaard still. But if I'm honest, I wouldn't take off in mid-season. I think at the end of the season, because you should, whatever happens, any way you take a captain's armband off someone, I've been a player and I've seen it happen. They feel like they're being disrespected. They feel like they're being
hmm
punished. But for me, I just think yeah, the natural captain would be either a Declan Rice or actually a Gabriel Magalhaes.
Okay.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I always campaigned for Gabriel Magalhaes because I just feel I see him as a leader. But obviously there used to be talk of he couldn't speak English very well, but I know he can. But yeah, I like Gabriel Magalhaes. I think for me, old school captain, like centre back, like that is, if it was me, that's my era. That's what I'm used to, having my captain and whatnot, and be like the aggression, and I see him lead from the back anyway, so he can lead the team. But yeah, Arteta would say Odegaard, which is questionable because I think for some reason that kind of keeps him in the side a little bit, but that's a conversation for another day.
No,
Yeah.
that's true. I just thought it was quite like a topical vibe because everyone's like, oh, Declan Rice, and obviously with Erdegaard, I don't even know if he'll be playing in this City game, because obviously he did like get injured. So, and I feel like he's obviously just come back from an injury. So it's very,
Yeah,
you know,
the vice cap. Listen, Odegaard would be, if it's Arteta. Arteta would say it's Odegaard, and then he'll say, well, the vice captain is Bukayo Saka. And when you're in a club, really rules state if you are like you can't just then start passing the armband around if
yeah.
you have a hierarchy. So it'd be Saka. Obviously, if they're both not on the pitch, which is going to probably happen against City, I'm sure. I actually think it is Gabriel Magalhaes that takes it. I don't think Declan Rice actually takes it, which is weird, but. Um, Yeah, but we'll find out anyway on
I mean, we'll
when
see, we'll see. But like, you've locked your answer in. Then the next point is if you could bring any player back for this City game, like out of retirement, I feel like I've probably got an idea of who you might want to bring back. But who would you put in that starting 11? Okay, maybe it's not as obvious as I thought.
no. For me, it's Thierry Henry, obviously. But I'm like,
Yeah.
what would Arteta think? Like, because he always thinks of just the most. It'll probably be a left back.
No, to be
Or,
fair, when I'm saying think like you're Arteta, I feel like just
yeah.
think like you're the manager because I feel like Arteta's obviously
Okay,
got
fair.
his
Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna give
he's
to
got his
yeah.
own mindset going on.
For me, yeah. If I was a manager, obviously, yeah, Thierry Henry. I mean, of course, out of retirement. I mean, Gyökeres, big him up, doing well so far. But Thierry Henry for me is the best
Hmm.
Premier League striker to ever touch, yeah, the league. So, yeah, I'll go Thierry Henry, get them goals, and that is probably the best and obvious answer in my opinion. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean I have no doubts with that one, but
yeah.
this next point might kind of change it. I don't know. But if you could switch one Arsenal and City player for this game, who would you switch? So like as in say you're something like, oh, instead of Gyökeres would take Haaland, you know, that
Yeah.
sort of
That was where I was
is
going.
that okay.
That was where I was going.
But if
That
you've
was.
already got Thierry Henry in there, then you know.
Oh, we keep it Thierry. Okay,
Yeah,
fair.
keep him
Okay,
in there.
okay, cool. It's supposed to be quick fire, but I'm struggling.
Yeah, I
It's
say quick
funny.
fire and then I'm like, actually they're really
It's
tricky.
tough. Yeah, it's funny because he hasn't really kicked on, but no, he probably has kicked on, but his team hasn't. So I would go as a Ballon d'Or winner, like Rodri would go in there, but
Mhm.
Zubimendi obviously big him up. He is the next in line, but it makes sense to go Rodri. I like Reinders, I like Shirky and all that. They're technically very gifted players, but I think maybe I'm missing some. But I think Rodri would be the he's a Ballon d'Or winner. I think he put that
Yeah,
in the
I
team.
mean,
Yeah,
enough said. Like that's what you really need to
Thierry
know.
Henry as well. Yeah, lovely.
That
Yeah.
is valid. And the final question, which probably is the most important because I feel like, you know, you're a fashionable guy, you're into what you wear. What kit out of the free kits, what kit out of the free kits would you want them to wear this for this game in particular? Like, what's your favourite kit?
Of course, the third kit. Of course, the
The
third
fur
kit.
kit, straight up.
Yeah, third
Straight
kit.
up
I've
fur
got
kit.
yeah, the third kit. The white that white kit is banging. Long sleeve as well. Like it's
Hmm.
mad. Well, people won't know this either, but like I don't buy kits like during the season, so I've never bought a kit
If you're
on the
not,
actual season. No, I only buy the kit when if we win something in it. So I haven't got any of the
yeah.
kits from the past season. Um, I've got obviously the last kit I actually bought is the always forward 14 Aubameyang FA Cup win top, which is actually no, it's in my basket. But yeah, even that top I didn't buy. Obviously, big up. I got sent. I got sent signed top. Thank you.
Hashtag
And then
ass.
I have got the blue away kit. I didn't buy it though. Sport Bible got it for me, so thank you, Sport Bible. But yeah, very lucky and grateful for these things. But I don't unless we win something in it because um uh it becomes a
Hmm.
memorable kit once you've won something in it. And I normally either get it framed or I put it into my collection. So yeah, but that
But
third kit.
did you
I haven't
buy that fur kit?
I haven't got it, but I want it. I
Okay, so
stick
this
to
is actually now
it.
like a cry out for either any brands, or
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
actually for Arteta to just get silverware, so then you can get whatever player scores the winner on that shirt at the end of the season,
yeah, facts.
and
That would
you're
be the
done.
dream. That would be the dream. So please win in the third kit,
Please.
or win something this season so I can just buy the third kit. Like, please, Arsenal. Like, I don't ask for much. You don't want
It's that
investment. You want
simple.
money. Yeah. So all you got to do is win. Yeah. But yeah.
Honestly. No, you know what?
So,
I haven't got that kit either because I feel like especially with Arsenal we produce so many kits, and I'm
yeah.
just like I don't have the money for all of this, but also they usually look similar, whereas this is the one kit that I'm like, oh, maybe should I actually get it? Because I feel like it's quite different, like it's got that heritage to it, like it's got
Yeah.
so much going on for it. So
Beautiful. I got the training tops to be fair, but because I buy training tops, but yeah, I never buy the actual kit, but I got the training tops because it's so nice. I got the burgundy.
mhm.
You'd see it if you follow, you'll see it. But yeah.
No, for sure. Well, that basically actually brings us to an end. I feel like this episode has gone on such a mad journey,
I've
through
enjoyed it.
your journey, basically, which I didn't expect to, I don't know, hear so much about your journey, which I'm so grateful for because I feel like not only is it so cool to just learn more about you and understand you better, but also if anyone's watching and they're or listening and they're sort of like, okay, this is maybe the route I want to go down, or maybe content creation is for me, and it's just more just reaching out and just like trusting the process. So
Yeah.
yeah, just the final
That's,
thing I guess is anyone if they're for whatever reason not following you, how do they hear about you? Like what are your socials? I'll put them in the description below, but yeah, if you want to say it to
um,
people.
I just want to say, you don't have to follow me. Honestly, I'm good. I say this all the time. People say, shout
Or
out.
yeah, no, no, no. Okay, you're being humble.
No. I want to say big up you. I was like you said, like this has been an hour and 10 now, and like I've enjoyed it. I mean, I've spoke more than I normally speak, and that's not a sign of me just wanting to talk about myself. That's a sign of a good host and presenter because there's things again
I
I haven't really
appreciate
spoke about in this much depth. So big up you and people subscribe to this because Luce is good. I mean, I don't speak this
that.
off this much and this often on certain topics. So yeah, big up you. Don't need to follow me.
No, I
Subscribe.
appreciate that. Or at
It's all good.
least your company that you're obviously repping on your shirt. I feel like that is one to
Yeah,
follow because I feel like what you're
talent
doing makes
transfer. Yeah, talent transfer. I mean, again, it's a company that like it does what it's supposed to do. I mean, this is giving visibility to it, I guess, but like
Mhm.
people can people can follow, but it's very much geared to players and academies and just helping the next generation of footballers. So it's all well and good. I'm wearing it because I just it's the top I just threw on in it. I
It's
knew we was going to
comfy.
kind of discuss it a little bit because yeah, it's part of the journey. But yeah, talent transfer. But yeah, man, if you see me, you see me. Hopefully, you see me. It means I'm doing something right. So that's kind of it. Yeah, if you will see me. So if you want to carry on following what you see me on, do it. And then yeah, like I said, follow loose because I've enjoyed this a lot.
I appreciate that. I feel like I don't need to do my normal outro of subscribe or if you're listening on Spotify, follow. So I feel like that covers it. But yeah, I'd recommend checking him out if you haven't already because honestly,
Thanks.
Cecil, like what you're doing, the legacy you're creating, and just you can tell through this whole conversation, it's about you giving back, even though you might not have done what you wanted to do originally. You're still doing something crazy good. Like you have that success. I know you were like, oh, do I say it earlier? But you are successful in what you're doing. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens next. But I appreciate you
I
coming
think
on.
no worries. I think the give back's the most important. People see that. I mean, when I
Hmm.
was interviewing Mo Salah on PFA Awards, like someone said this to me, they were like, I didn't even remember. I didn't even think about it. It was like you asked them about give advice to the next generation. Like you didn't have to do it. I said, oh yeah. For some because you forget. I don't know. Sometimes when you run jobs and you ask questions, you don't actually remember. I
It's just
remember
natural.
going like, yeah. You don't remember. Like I remember I did a press conference with Mick Arteta for the first time. Everyone's like, oh, what did you ask him? I said, I can't even remember what I said. I don't remember what he said back. You're kind of just in it. But yeah, I forget. Yeah, like I think it's important to give advice. That's why it's good coming from Salah. It's good coming from if people go on talent transfer, they'll see I asked Reece Nelson to give advice. Like yes, I am where I am, but it's all about the next generation and helping the next generation
Hmm.
come through. I think that's the best way to build a legacy. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about the other people. So yeah, appreciate
No,
you.
definitely. I feel like that's the perfect way to wrap up the episode. So thank you.